Alright, so here's a quick video to show you my collection of Bibles, different translations and such. I'll try to go fairly quickly. So first at the top here, we've got the Good News Bible. We've got the TNIV, New Testament. This is a New Revised Standard Version with the Apocrypha. I have the New Living Translation, the Revised English Bible, the Complete Jewish Bible. This one is it says the Everyday Bible. It's the New Century Version. You can see that down there. Got the New Jerusalem Bible, the New King James, the Amplified. This one's a newer translation called the Voice. Here's God's Word for Student Edition, but it's the translation God's Word. We have the Holman Christian Standard. What is it? CEV, I think this is the Contemporary English Version. The Message. Here's a 4 translation New Testament. So we've got the King James, New American Standard, Williams, New Testament in the language of the people, and Beck, New Testament in the language of today. I've got a couple of these multi-translation here, parallel Bibles. So this one's got the King James, New American Standard, New Century Version, Contemporary English Version, New International Version, the New Living Translation, New King James, and the Message, all there. This is an older one. This one has the King James. King James is standard. It's got the Phillips, Modern English. It's got the Revised Standard Version, the Jerusalem Bible, the Living Bible, the New International Version, and today's English version, as well as the New English Bible. Finally, I have this one here, today's Parallel Bible with the NIV, NASB, KJV, and NLT. So that's the top shelf. Above that, I have some original language texts. So I've got a Reader's Greek New Testament, 2nd edition. Got the Biblia Hebraica Leningardensia, or however you pronounce that. This right here is a New Testament in Hebrew. It's got an English on one side and Hebrew on the other side. This is the Society for Distributing Hebrew Scriptures. So that's a New Testament in Hebrew. This is the Gospel according to John in the Byzantine tradition. So this is the Byzantine text with textual information. Then we have the Textus Receptus version of the Greek text, what underlies the King James version. And then we have the New Testament in Greek, 4th edition. This is the UBS 4th edition, United Bible Society 4th edition. Then we also have the Old Testament in Greek, Volume 1. So this is the Greek text. This is an older Bible. So we have that. We have the Hebrew Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, the Old Testament in Hebrew, and then there's the UBS 5th edition, Greek and English. So this has the New International Version. So Greek on one side, English on the other. It's not an interlinear. It's a parallel. Down below, we've got King James. We've got the Net Bible, 2nd Beta, NIV Study Bible, New King James Study Bible. Here's a Catholic version, the New American Bible. Again, another New King James version. This is King James, New King James, Maxwell Leadership, NIV Study Bible. Here's the Oxford Annotated Bible with the Revised Standard Version. This is a newer one that I just picked up. This is the Eastern Orthodox, Eastern Greek Orthodox New Testament. This is the Jewish Study Bible, so that's the Old Testament. We've got the Septuagint with the Apocrypha, Greek and English. That's Brenton's translation. This here, it's hard to see. This is actually the Old Testament in Hebrew, Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, and the English Standard Version. So Hebrew on one side, Greek on the other. Here's the UBS Reader's Edition of the Greek New Testament. This is an interesting one. Here's the Israelite Samaritan version. So it's got a comparison between the Masoretic text, and it's both in English, but the Masoretic text on one side of the Torah and the Samaritan text on the other. This is actually a Greek-English New Testament comic book of Mark. It's got the text in Greek. It's got a translation. Down below we have an old King James version here. There's the Jerusalem Bible. This is a different one. This is a Farrar Fenton translation. This is the American Standard Version with cross-references. Got the Dartmouth Bible. Another King James, but this is the 1611 edition. The Modern Reader's Bible, Moulton. This is the inspired version. This is the Mormons' inspired version of the Bible. Very interesting. Life Application Study Bible. It's an NIV. Thompson Chain NIV. This is the New King James Version, the Inspirational Study Bible. I'm not really big into study Bibles, even though I have a bunch of them. Next, we have the Emphasized Bible, which is by Rotherham. And here we got the Pentateuch and Haftarahs. It's in Hebrew and Greek, Hebrew and English. Here's the New Covenant. This is a translation by Willis Brandstone. The Four Gospels and the Apocalypse, so the Gospels and Revelation. The Book of God, I don't think that's a translation. I have to look at that. The Kingdom New Testament by N.T. Wright. Here's a Gideon's version. Forget what version that is. That's just the authorized. So it's the King James version, but it's a Gideon's. The New English Bible, Old Testament. Here's a newer translation, the Tree of Life, New Covenant. That's a Messianic version. Here's the New Testament, translation by Ronald Knox. This is the New Testament, and this is by Kleist and Lilly. The Everlasting Gospels, New Testament, Psalms, Proverbs, and More by Hugo McCord. It's not the whole Bible, it's the New Testament and some of the Old Testament. This is an interesting one. Kerbin's Prophecy, New Testament. It's got Revelation visualized, so there's a bunch of pictures or whatever. But it's just a King James version, but it's an interesting visual Bible for visual revelation, that is. Then this is Lamsa. This is the text based on the Peshitta. And then I've got these two volumes here. One's the Gospels and one's the Letters of the Apostles, and that's by Lattimore. This is Young's literal translation. Then we've got Tyndale's New Testament. What is it? 1534 version. This is an interesting one here. This one's the New Testament by J.W.C. Wand, the letters. This is the New Testament. I think this is it's hard to read it. This is an older translation. Sawyer. The Sawyer, done by a guy named Sawyer. This is an interesting one. It's a New Testament. It's Gideon's. It's the American Standard Version on one side, but then it has Japanese. So it's a English-Japanese version. We got the Moffat, so this is the James Moffat translation. This one here is put out by the Jewish Publication Society, just an Old Testament, the Dewey Reams version. Down at the bottom, all the way at the bottom, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls. We've got the complete Gospels, so it's got the some of the apocryphal Gospels and non-canonical books. This is the inclusive New Testament, the unvarnished New Testament, the simple Bible, the simple English Bible. Pathways Through the Bible, that's not, I think that's just an Old Testament, might be selections from there. The Bible in Basic English, the New Testament Expanded Translation by Wuest. This one is the Holy Bible English for the Deaf. The Word on the Street, this was an interesting one. It's a modern paraphrase. Then the New English Bible, New Testament, is a Spanish translation. This is the inclusive language edition of the New Testament and Psalms, the New International Version. Here's the Psalms, a new translation, singing version. New Living Bible, but it's 1 year. This is the American Bible, American translation. Concordant Literal New Testament. This is the Gospels, put out by Penguin Classics. William Barclay's translation. This one is the Recovery version. I think this is the Apocrypha. And then this one, I believe, is the New Berkeley version of the New Testament and Psalms. That's pretty much all the different translations. I've got a couple other Bibles, but they're basically the same translations. I do have the Living Bible, and that's over here. I don't know if I had one over there. I had the New Living, but the Living Bible, some of the older ones. So anyways,